Hey, we love you, brother. All right, live video is starting, so you know what that means. On a Wednesday night in Fishers, welcome to the Evan and Aaron Show presents the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat. I might need to slow that down a little bit. I get excited.
I understand.
The Red and the Blue Soccer Chat with your guys here. My name is Evan, representing the Blues. Aaron, representing the Scarlets. The cream and crimsons. The cream and crimsons, but representing your Red Devils of Manchester United. We are back for another Wednesday night kind of processing session about our respective teams, about all things soccer universe. We invite friends. Our good friend Matthias, how are you, sir? It's kind of a jovial atmosphere tonight. Go Bayern! Go Bayern Munich. Although I'm a Dortmund fan, it hurts me to say that. He expects me to say stuff that hurts.
I believe they drew today.
I know.
No. Bayern. I believe Galatasaray.
Oh, Bayern did.
I believe Galatasaray managed to. That's right.
He's going to have a comment for that one.
When I start speaking, the crowd cheers. So, mainly because I have control over the board. Yeah. See how that works.
Wow.
See how that works.
I know. Yeah,
I give him top billing, but it's my show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. We're so glad to have you here. We start off just talking soccer type stuff, but man, I want to start off just acknowledging a few things. Number one, I'm a proud papa tonight because tomorrow my daughter has her induction ceremony into the National Guard. And I get to go. I get to go see that.
Outstanding. Where is that?
That is here in the city in Fort Bend.
Chatham's
Yeah. Here. No, it's at Fort Bend, and so
they should go off with a drink.
So I'm really excited about that.
No, that's great.
Love you, honey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
big shout out
to good old Kiara.
To a little Kiki.
Yes. Uncle Aaron is proud of you.
I am very proud of you. I want to see you. Well, what are the? Not to get too into the details. What's her term? What's her?
She's going in probably for 4 years, and then she has a choice. And I hope she makes the choice to make it a career because it's if there's anything to all of you who served out there, we love you. Thank you so much for your service. You deserve everything that you get, and we probably more. But Kiara, I think, will do really well in it, and I think she'll learn to love it. And so I just hope that she embraces it as her career and is able to just really enjoy the benefits of serving your country.
That's exciting, and I'm proud on your behalf, and I'm proud as Uncle Aaron. So.
Exactly. I mean, you kind of watched her grow up. She started here in high school,
right?
So you watched that. So, Kiara, love you, babe. But now, on to the lecture at hand. I did want to start out with the Blues.
Yeah, definitely. Big game at the beginning of the week. Been an interesting last couple of weeks since we, kind of last had the show.
It has. But, and I think it's a we love you. And the reason why. We love you. And the reason why is because you're right. You said it, and we've said it since the beginning of this show. Be a fan. Stick with them through thick and thin, no matter what, and you celebrate them. And in the last couple of matches, we had a lot to celebrate. We did, and I think we had points to celebrate the other day on Monday, and we had quarterfinals for the Carabao Cup to celebrate against Blackburn. So. There are several things that I want to say, but I want to hear from you first. What did you see maybe in those two matches or maybe in one match that you want to particularly focus on that kind of brought interest to you or that you saw that might be I don't know?
Well, I think you can look at these last couple of weeks and these results as a microcosm of what, Chelsea are encountering right now as a team. When last we spoke, you were coming off a pretty good performance against Arsenal. That again, in a game sort of illustrated what you're about. Very, very good players, a lot of talent, and really beginning to coalesce around Poch's ideas and really had some good attacking football and were able to weather some storms. And then late on, kind of allowed Arsenal to get back into it because Chelsea aren't quite as cohesive as they need to be. And right. Arsenal are a very good team.
Yes.
Definitely one of those goals probably you'd like to look at and say later in the season, we're going to cut that cross out. We're not going to allow that to happen.
Right.
But you kind of would have thought, hey, there's a lot to build on here, and we've got a mid-table team rocking up to Stamford Bridge. We should be able to exert a bit of dominance and start to show who we are. And yet Brentford really weathered the storm and hit the way they needed to and came away with all 3 points and a 2-0 win away, which is huge. But then that's followed up, with a Carabao Cup game at home against Blackburn. They're... I believe they're in the championship. So, definitely should be controlling that match, especially at home, and they did. Really kind of cruised in it. And then, you get to Monday and a clash. You're going away to Spurs, a team that is really flying high right now. And are exciting. I mean, from a neutral's perspective, Ange Ball is kind of fun to watch.
I like Ange Ball. I do like Ange Ball.
It's nice and there's a little addition by subtraction here. I would never say I wouldn't want Harry Kane on my team. The guy would make anybody better.
Sure.
By the way, look at what he's doing in Bayern.
He's killing it.
But perhaps Ange has been able to unlock a little bit more of this team because they're not focused solely on Harry Kane, and you're seeing really, really nice, attractive play. And I think you got to say early on, it looked like Spurs might run away with that match.
Yes, absolutely.
It was very open to begin with. It was a lot of energy. Tackles are flying in. Everything you kind of want out of a big Premier League derby clash, and we were getting it. And and then, much like unfortunately we've had to do,
they got sloppy
far too much in the last few weeks. Well.
They got sloppy. I mean, I know where you're going with it.
Well,
so go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, we're going to talk about VAR a lot tonight.
Yes, we are.
As you can imagine, we're going to talk about VAR a lot tonight. But in this game, I do want to say they largely got the calls correct going to VAR. So that's what you want to see. But the number of times VAR intervened, the length of time that VAR intervened, and really...
Yeah, that's really what it was.
Kind of, it feels like we're relitigating the game.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be clear and obvious. Misses, it's supposed to be for these specific things. And here you've got these replays where we're looking at, 3 separate items that are all part of the same phase of play. And it is... Look, everything I'm going to complain about VAR, ultimately, by the letter of the law and the way they're instructed to interpret it, it's correct.
Yes.
These calls were correct. But the 2 major points I'll make tonight is VAR is not meant to take this much time.
No.
It really, truly disrupted that game. We were seeing phenomenal football at times, and it shouldn't take this long to come to the correct decision. And if that's how long it takes, then I think by definition it wasn't clear and obvious to begin with.
Adding 12 minutes to the end of a half, that's pretty telltale right there.
Well, it tells you there was way too much involvement.
Yes.
And in the whole added time now is while correct, also just sort of ridiculous. We're talking about how we manage these rules that we want to live by. Foreshadowing to later in the show.
I love the foreshadowing.
What are these rules that we wish to live by? And I think a lot of the time, while VAR is getting the letter of the law correct, it's not within the spirit of the game. It's not within the intent of the rules, and it's very much not a quick process.
Yeah.
And it's keeping us from watching the game that we're all there to see.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's kind of ruined goal scoring to a certain extent because you now know every goal is going to get checked. So it's kind of hard to like run over and cheer when you know you're going to have a two-minute wait.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, yay, great. It's like somebody already blew out the candles on your cake.
And I did feel, I don't know, for the fan base. I feel sorry for the fan base because you want to celebrate those goals when they happen.
Absolutely.
You want to be able to say, yes, whenever. And it's almost now as if it's kind of Pavlovian. You score the goal, and then you wait for a minute or two.
This game is meant to elicit emotion from people, and it's meant to be experienced and be a very in-the-moment type of thing. And this is detracting from it.
Yeah.
And again, I want to reiterate, they probably got the vast majority of these calls correct.
In the Tottenham game.
But we are spending way too much time talking about the officiating and especially VAR's influence on officiating rather than the fact that this was a wide open game.
It was.
And look, Tottenham were the better team for the opening exchanges. And then Chelsea got a foothold. They benefited from Spurs' second goal not counting, and that, again, correct decision.
Yes.
But you could feel the momentum begin to change, and Chelsea really came to terms with the match, and then ultimately, became the aggressor because Spurs really lost their heads. They had one guy sent off in the first half. They had another guy sent off in the second half,
which was silly.
Who probably could have been sent. He probably could have been sent earlier in the game. For his level of tackles. It was really, really ridiculous.
Yes.
So you ended up playing against 9 men, but then you started to have this feeling of, again, is Chelsea mature enough to be able to put this game away? And ultimately they did. It did take a while to get there, but they did do it. So the tough thing about this game is, and much like today's game for Manchester United, it's hard to take, lessons away from these games where there's so much intervention, there's so much, not necessarily controversy, but sort of, these major match events, goals getting chalked off correctly, red cards being given correctly, team going down to 9 men, and that sort of thing. So, Chelsea did great to get themselves back into that match, but they were also benefited, by Tottenham, losing their cool.
Absolutely.
So how do you feel going into this game against City?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the reason why I said, Tottenham just got sloppy. When you look at it, it's like, first of all, Udogie was the 2 tackles he made. The second tackle he made, he knew. Yeah. He was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
not good. But to lose your head like Romero did, I mean, once again, I am Netflix. Please, the flicks of net. If you'd like to sponsor us, please do. But it's very similar to Beckham's kick.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what?
Absolutely.
You lose your head for just a minute, and it costs your team. It just does.
Absolutely. We're going to pause real quick. It is halftime. It's an early halftime here at the show, and the lovely exotic dancers of Chatham Tap Fishers.
I thought that was us. I thought that was us.
Apparently there are free passes to PTs going around. I'm just saying. Just saying.
So, hey, there you go. Okay.
If you're into that sort of thing, get down to PTs. Just bring cash before you get there because the ATM charge is at least $6.
Slanty?
Oh, that's cheap. Red Garters is 20.
Well, I haven't been to PTs for probably 20 years.
Okay, I've got a confession.
I haven't been to a strip club for 10 because it's been 10 years since I got married. So
I have never been to a strip club. Ever.
We need to remedy that.
And now the official Chatham Tap Fishers
watching this. I'm just
big
saying,
night out for Evan is being planned. There we go.
No, SO. No, SO.
Where's the strip club in Fishers?
The Champions Room in Chatham. That's what it is.
It's at the next Moms for Liberty meeting.
Oh, wait a minute. No, we got it. Yeah, that was too good, dude.
Special guest Lauren Boebert.
Wow.
Foreshadowing.
Tiffany Divelson or whatever your name is. Hey, there you go. If you, whatever. I don't know.
Ditlevson.
Ditlevson. We're talking shit about you. Yes, we are. Anyway, getting back to the match, I think that, once again, Tottenham got sloppy. They lost their head.
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
never seen that. I've never seen that from Tottenham. Like, just to that extreme. I just haven't seen it. Even when Harry Kane was there, I just had not seen that. And so it was shocking to me to see two guys being sent off. I immediately said, and you remember this.
We've got an old white man who's not happy with us.
Why? What
He
happened?
overheard our conversation, and I can see him complaining on his way out. And you know what?
No.
I love it. Feel free to tune in and watch the rest of the show later, my man.
Oh, man. Okay, well, we're just going to go in on it then. Hey, Aaron's segment is a free-for-all, so I guess I know where that's
So's Aaron's final thought. I got news
exactly,
for y'all.
But I think that
I'm holding a microphone.
God damn. Oh, wow. Wait. Here you all. Thanks for positive vibes. Yes! My coworker and his wife just had a baby, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up to them.
Hell yeah. Big shouts.
Yay.
Big shouts.
Zane and Lauren, we love you guys. Excellent. Zane, you didn't do anything, so
sometimes just showing up, you just show up. You better be there.
Lauren, way to go.
That's not one to be like, I'm having a drink with the guys.
Yeah, right. So there you go. Anyway, back to the lecture at hand. I think that
perfection is perfected.
Yes.
I'm going to let him understand.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that where I was
We need
going
Ari
with this-
Melber on the show.
Oh, my God. Where's Ari? Anyway, Chelsea looked okay. What worried me was the amount of time.
Sorry, we're talking about football again.
Yeah, we're talking.
Sometimes you can see the DNA of this show come out.
We're not at PTs.
And
we're not at PTs, but that's okay.
We're not. Not yet.
No,
we are
not yet.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
I think it has to happen at this point.
I am. Yes, I'm not. But
are you gonna get in trouble with Marion for this?
No, because I've never been.
And chances are they
never
have.
been. Well, they weren't my chances of becoming
Tenure?
the chair. Yeah, tenure. Anyway, what scared me is that it took the 75th minute, the 94th minute, and the 97th minute for us to score 3 goals that are insurance goals.
Yeah.
There was a point to where it looked like Tottenham, with 9 men, were going to go up 2-1.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was.
But that's what I'm saying. It kind of shows this up and downness of Chelsea right now, and we go back to this is what it is to be a fan, to recognize these are the growing pains of a team in progress. But at the end of the day, you want these results, and you want to be able to have some momentum going into this game against City. So let's that question, how. It's at home.
Yes. And Nick Jackson needed to score those goals.
Nick Jackson, if you're nasty.
Yeah. I love this. Tonight is a special night, my friend. Here is what I'm worried about, though. Mykhailo Mudryk was open for that final goal where Nick Jackson got his hat trick. Is Mudryk going to be able to put that behind him and forget about it and just be like, you know what, we won 4-1? Nick juked out totally the keeper, and he had it. Because if you look at here's the thing. Here's what I was looking for. I was looking at his body language. I was looking at the way he looked at Nick Jackson. He did not go over and celebrate. He didn't go over and celebrate. And here's what brings me caution about that. Is Mudryk the type of guy that will say, you know what? Yeah, good on you, Nick. Let's just suit up, put our boots on. Let's go and play this match against City. Or is he going to be the guy that's like, well, I should have had a goal that game?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I don't know either of these guys well enough to really weigh in on that.
No, I don't think anybody does.
But I can say this with absolute certainty. These guys are killers.
Yes.
Their job is to put the ball in the back of the net and figure out how to put the ball in the back of the net. And quick aside, a lot of people want to criticize Cristiano Ronaldo as a selfish player. But I tell you what,
That's his job.
look at his return, look at his assists, and if you are in a better position than him and he believes in you, you get the ball.
You get the ball.
But as a striker, you have to have supreme confidence in yourself.
Yep.
And Nick Jackson saw an opportunity to score a goal, and he took it.
Yes.
Yes, he took it. He was
Yes, he
below. He was below the level.
And here's the thing.
he took that shot.
It was a beautiful
Maverick.
It was a beautiful juke. It was wonderful.
He was
It
below
like,
the hard deck, as they say.
Yeah, he was. It was a great take, and it was exactly what you should have done as a striker. All I'm saying is, Mykhailo Mudryk, please be a team player.
Well, he's not a striker. He's a support striker or an attacking winger or something like that. So he should recognize that's his job.
Yes.
And
yes.
let's not read too much into it yet.
I'm not. I'm trying
right?
not to. I'm trying not to.
If come April, Nick Jackson scores a banger from the edge of the box and Mudryk is still being a moody and throwing his toys out of the pram,
then
we can talk about it.
Okay.
But I think the main issue right now is Mykhailo Mudryk needs to elevate his game to the level that Chelsea require of him for him to be successful.
Yeah.
As does Nick Jackson. They've struggled early on here.
Sure.
And
but
I'd like to see each of them grow into it.
Right. But I think the fact that he was where he was on that play shows some growth, and the fact that he recognizes things a little bit better. He's knowing, his spacing is good, and he's where he needs to be in case Jackson would have gotten in trouble.
The only time in a moment like that, as a player, especially as a player recognizing that this guy's the striker, it's his job to score goals.
Yes.
And my job to help. But if he doesn't pass me the ball and then does some ludicrous, stupid shit and we don't score, then I can have a go at you. Then I can be like, hey, man, I was wide open. Here. You tried something that didn't come off, and we should have had a goal here.
Yes.
But even then, you support your teammate and
Yes.
say,
Absolutely.
What you tried to do, I support you. Just make sure next time it comes off. Otherwise, if this happens 2-3 times, then I'm going to be like, you're not recognizing the better option.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's transition.
That's all I got to say about that.
I am going to hit this button. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it. Because this man took Manchester United on his own shoulders and fucking just killed it, man. I mean, it was a gripping game. It was a game I'm sure as a Man U fan was hard to watch. But at the end, once again, the guy you want to come through came through. Bruno Fernandes. What's happening? What's happening? Is there another side?
Nothing.
Another side? No.
No,
nothing. Okay. You're scaring me, my friend. You're scaring me. Are you still thinking about PTs? Is that what you?
No.
No. Okay. Good.
For the record, I find strip clubs kind of stupid because if I want to spend way too much money on women who will ultimately ignore me at the end of the night and not have sex with me,
please don't finish this.
I'm not.
Don't finish this. Okay.
Not gonna.
Talk to me about Man U. Let's talk about Man U, shall we? This went off the rails way too early tonight.
We didn't even pregame.
We didn't.
No more than usual.
Yeah, no more than usual. Okay. Anyway, talk to me about Manchester United. I gotta be honest with you. I went back and I watched the match against Copenhagen. That was hard. I think, and I'll let you talk about Rashi and the red card. I don't think that should have been. I don't think it should have been. Yellow, maybe. Yes, maybe. I would say maybe. That almost looked just like a, let's keep playing type deal to me. I don't know. What do you think?
And the referee in the moment.
Yes, and the ref in the moment.
Here's what I think, and here's what I'm going to focus on.
Okay.
Before crazy VAR interventions and this relitigating of the game, for 30 minutes, this was some of the best football Manchester United had played all season long.
Nice.
They were in complete control away from home. They were definitely playing on the counterattack, but with a very compact understanding of how to play defense against this team. They weren't giving Copenhagen any opportunities and were very, very threatening on the counter. Scored early through a counterattack, kind of a multi-phase counterattack, really, because they got out early and then slowed, allowed Copenhagen to recover. But then we saw some interchange of play that, you know, people talk about Marcus and him not being quite on form, and you know, if you want to talk about the goal output, that's fair, but notice what happened with Marcus Rashford and Aaron Wan-Bissaka on the right side of the field, and the way they supported one another and their understanding of one another, and recognize that Marcus is used to having Luke Shaw, who's even better at all this stuff, on his side of the field.
I got my medium on, by the way.
And it's not been there.
Medium.
It's not been there. So you had this situation where I don't think Anthony would have supported and done the exact same thing that Rashford did in the moment. And you know, on face value, it doesn't look like Rashford does a whole lot. He receives a big out ball from Bruno wide into space, waits on the overlap, and then tucks a ball in. And then, you know, a lot of people would be like, hey, make that run into space. But of course, he's going to be tracked, and his man's already ahead of him. So instead, he kind of drags out a little bit, provides an opportunity for a layoff if needed, which now creates more space. And Thierry Henry broke this down incredibly well. And I don't have the big whiteboard here and the video screen to do all this stuff, but if you watch this play, you see how multiple players doing seemingly innocuous stuff create space on the field. Marcus Rashford drops into a support position for Aaron Wan-Bissaka to play a little bit of a 2-on-2 game,
which is so unselfish.
Bruno moves into space and then backs off, and in doing so makes a defender recognize that he's there and now must be marked.
Yes.
And in doing so, creates this lane that was already there, but he maintains the lane for Scott McTominay to run into. And again, here's a player in midfield making a run from deep. He's untracked because now you're overcommitting players. He moves into space. You have a nice reverse ball from Wan-Bissaka to McTominay in space. Now you have forced a defensive line to be facing its own goal. Okay? And if you're a United fan, and have been for a long time, you'll recall a time 10 years ago or so when United's third leading goal scorer was OG. And it was OG because they so consistently got in behind a team's defense so that they now had to be facing their own goal, and any clearance could potentially go into the net. This ball was a perfect pick out from McTominay to Højlund, and it was nice. It was very, very nice. And then about 10, 15 minutes later, another great breakaway. I'm inclined to say I think maybe Garnacho should have, centered it for Højlund to score right away, but he chose to take the shot, but his shot comes across the goal as it should be. Goalie parries it, but not enough on it. Højlund has a nice tap in. United have done
right place, right
everything
time.
They've needed to do in this game up to this point. And then we have intervention from VAR. And again, I want to say, letter of the law, the result is probably correct. But I think there are multiple things that you look at here that are different than what went on in the Tottenham match. This one, I want to ask why it was even looked at in the first place. The referee is no more than 5 to 10 yards away, has a perfect view of it, sees nothing wrong with this play in real time. There's not a single Copenhagen player who, even the player who gets fouled, yes, he's fouled and he got injured because he did get stepped on. There's no question that occurred. That's reality. But he wasn't like, oh my God, this is some life-threatening event. The entire crowd wasn't up in arms. Rashford and other United players weren't like, oh God, did I just do something wrong? There was honestly almost no reason whatsoever to check for it. But the second they do check for it now, and especially in the Champions League, you know that when the referee goes to the board, this is getting overturned. And that's unfortunate and not what we want to see. And I might get into this later. We'll see. But the reality is this changed the outcome of the game. In a situation where no one wants to see the rule applied this way. I thought Christina Kunkel on Paramount Plus did a great job of explaining it.
Sure.
But even she, especially with regard to the handballs that occurred in this match, is not in favor of how it's being interpreted. And I don't think most fans are in favor of how this particular call on Rashford is being interpreted. Certainly former players are not.
Outsiders, even outsiders.
Anybody who's played this game knows exactly what was happening in this situation.
Yeah.
This wasn't a random tackle. This wasn't a reckless foul. And yes, I totally agree. Those words don't appear. And I think that's what has people frustrated is we've now tried to strip down these laws after a few years of video review and the nuance that goes into it, and we're trying to make them clear, and yet that still can't happen because we're not applying some common sense.
Right.
We are evolving the game, and there's a frustration to it right now, but that is the system. So I really liked Ange Postecoglou's response at the weekend. Yes, some calls went against them, but that's part of the game, and we're just going to move on because sometimes they go for you. My main takeaway is it's unfortunate the way this game ultimately fell out because at the end of the day, for 30 minutes, Manchester United were very clearly the better team in this game. Yeah. And all things being equal, should have gone on to a very simple victory. Yes. And that is not what happened. And ultimately, if you were following Paramount today, you realize that the entire conversation afterward had almost nothing to do with the play on the field and everything to do about decisions. And that's what's frustrating right now. Yeah. So that's all I've got to say. I'm not going to go into it right now. Sure. Give me a few minutes.
No. That makes sense, ladies and gentlemen. We really don't have anything to say about the U.S. men's or women's team, do we?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we've got one huge announcement that was made. Yes. Emma Hayes, ladies and gentlemen.
I think this is phenomenal. For those who don't know, Emma Hayes, current manager of the Chelsea women's team, who are atop the Women's Super League in England. And just you may be familiar with her. She coached in the United States for a couple different teams. She is the real deal, and I'm excited for this. I think Vlatko was a good coach, but he wasn't perhaps the right choice for what was going on in this particular moment. And it's obvious the criticism of his strategy, his decision making, and the fact that he was a bit over reliant on some veteran talent that obviously are great and worthy of being on the team. But I think sometimes you've got to get that baton passed and then say we'll bring these players off the bench in a supporting role. And I think Emma Hayes is going to come in. She's going to be very disciplined. She's going to have a lot of confidence and an understanding of the U.S. women because of having coached here. She's going to have that understanding, and I think she's the right person to get this team competing for the Olympics and the World Cup.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that Emma Hayes is the one that's going to be able to be that transitional manager, going to be able to handle the transition from Rapinoe to the younger players, and she's going to be able to coach the younger players the same way she's done Chelsea. You look at Millie Bright. Millie Bright is one of the foundational figures in that Chelsea women's team. She has used Millie Bright in a way that has been incredibly brilliant. Yeah. She's used her in a way that has helped the younger players be able to emulate the way that she plays. Not try and be Millie Bright, but emulate the way that she plays defense. Yeah. And I think the way that Emma Hayes can do that with Chelsea, she can do that with the U.S., and that's what is desperately missing today with the U.S. women's team, is that we need a transitional manager who's going to be able to stay the long haul with that transition back to the
well, and I think what works in her favor is a lot of these players are moving on no matter what. So she kind of gets a clean slate with a group of players that are hungry. I would kill to have the opportunity to coach, a Trinity Rodman.
Yeah, exactly.
The Mewis sisters. Even some of the players that are toward the end of their career. I mean, Emily Sonnet is my spirit animal. I love her. She's fantastic. She's the kind of person that will.
I thought that Alexia.
Megan Rapinoe.
No. On the England team, England's women's team.
Alessia Russo.
Yeah, Russo. I thought Russo was your spirit.
I like her a lot too.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying. I think Emma recognizes what she's got available and the levity, what it means to be the coach of the U.S. Women's National Team.
Yes.
Even though she doesn't have the international experience, I think in the women's game, you can get away with that a little bit more.
You're coaching in the Super League. I mean,
I think she's going to be fine, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I when you sent this to me, because obviously I'm in the world of academia and there's no room for sports ball. I just thank you so much for sending me stuff. You sent this to me as soon as it broke, and I was like, I literally was in class and I saw it flash up, and I was like, excuse me, guys. And I went out in the hall and I was like doing my happy dance. It was awesome.
I want you to know the very last game of my college career was played at Kuntz Stadium against Marion University.
Oh, wow.
And we lost.
Oh, really?
And I did not understand the concept of being subbed off in your final match for people to give you a final applause.
Yeah,
and this is
like,
back
I don't want to do this.
Yep, this is back when you could get subbed back in, and I remember being in tears, walking to my coach and saying, I don't want to finish my college career on the bench, and he put me back in the game for the last 5 minutes, in which I believe Marion scored again. So I was basically a blubbering mess, but I want you to know that Marion is a sporting school.
Very much a sporting school, as opposed to
Got a big question mark about that whole Knights thing.
the Cincinnati Biblical College, that used to beat up on all the fucking time. And there was a certain goalkeeper that actually got in on several matches. Yeah. Anyway, we'll leave that there, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we are both excited about the U.S. women's team. I see that smirk on your face. God damn. You work with somebody, guys. You work with somebody long enough, and they don't even have to say a word, and you know what they're thinking. Like we are becoming the old couple sitting in front of Cracker Barrel.
It's been a while
that's it. Like fuck. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at the.
I love chicken fried steak.
We are now at the part of the show that I just absolutely adore. It's the Hey Aaron segment of the show. Guys, I got to be honest with you. This is the time where school is wrapping up, and I had nothing. I had nothing for you. And Aaron has swooped in and said, hey, I got you. So the Hey Aaron segment tonight is a choice.
Okay.
And you have a choice of 3 categories.
Ooh, all right.
3 categories. Movies.
Ooh.
Music. Or rugby.
I'm going to go with music here.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with
all
music.
right. You don't want to talk about the All Blacks. That's all right. And how the Springboks
How they
beat
lost?
them. Yeah. No, stop.
That's all that needs to be said is the Springboks beat the All Blacks in a very, very good Rugby World Cup final.
I love you. I love you. The Haka. Anyway.
Which I look. All right, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna have to speak on this.
No.
I'm gonna have to speak on this for a second because how do you buy the rights to show the Rugby World Cup, which is I'm sorry, these are all massive events now,
Yes.
and you have the rights to the Rugby World Cup final, and your broadcast begins at kickoff. You know the All Blacks do the haka.
Yes.
You know South Africa is going to challenge. You know this is a massive spectacle to anybody who even remotely gives a shit about rugby. Never mind a whole bunch of people who are just like, the haka's motherfucking cool, and you didn't broadcast it. Shame on you.
Do better.
Shame on you.
Better.
I would like to give a shout out to Agave and Rye, where I sat and ate tacos and watched the Rugby World Cup final.
Their tacos are wonderful.
They're the bomb.
They're wonderful. Anyway, you were going to talk about music.
I was.
Okay.
What's the talk?
Go.
What are we talking
I
about?
don't know. Whatever you want.
Oh, I don't have a question?
Oh. Yes. Okay, here it is. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Shania Twain. It's playing. I've got to say it. Shania Twain.
It is playing.
Or Madonna.
Oh, I mean, I don't think it's close from the standpoint of Madonna's just had such a long career and she's reinvented herself multiple times. I have mad respect for Shania.
Okay.
She's a queen in country music, no question, and she's an icon. But I think what Madonna brings to the table and how important she is, despite some of the weirdness of the last few years, which I think is part of the problem of trying to have to maintain relevancy and you know, you almost have to set yourself on fire to stay in the news. And you know, obviously she got sick recently. We don't really know what that was about, but just from a pure musical standpoint, I don't know that there's been too many people who've managed to reinvent their persona wholly in the way that she has, and to represent so many different genres of music. I mean, she can sing ballads, she's pop music, she's kind of some aggressive dance and techno.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Her music has been political, her music has been sexual, her music has been quite frankly silly at times.
Yes.
She really occupies a lot of spaces, and for that alone, I think she kind of takes that mantle.
I got 4 more. Okay, here we go. Adam Levine, Donald Glover.
Ooh, I get the gist of this question because they're multi-talented and really look at things in a variety of ways. I personally, I'm going to lean Donald Glover just because I really, I really think that his ability to recognize a particular moment and craft a piece of art, whether that be his music, whether that be the show Atlanta, whether that be him supporting other people, I think really is targeted specifically, and he's I think Redbone and obviously This Is America are some songs that have a meaning,
Stay woke,
and a weight to a certain segment of people in this society. I don't think Adam Levine has chosen, and he's chosen to not go down that path. I think if you want a hit song, Adam Levine is near the top of the list for that kind of stuff. But I like Donald Glover's sort of multifacetedness. That's my take on that.
Pharrell Williams, Usher.
Same reason, Pharrell. I love Usher, and Usher is probably one of the best performers of his generation. He's exciting, he's a dancer, and it's truly what he is. He's a performer. He's Justin Timberlake. He's Michael Jackson. I'm out here on this stage to entertain you. I have a beautiful voice. I'm going to give you a show. Pharrell, Pharrell writes music, Pharrell produces music, Pharrell performs music, Pharrell designs clothing, Pharrell designs political campaigns. Pharrell might be the blueprint that Donald Glover's following.
Ooh, man, that's interesting. Damn.
And I'd like to see those two work together.
There you go. Missy Elliott, Megan Thee Stallion.
Well, ask me again in 10 years, but right now there's not even a question. It's Missy Elliott because, she's a pioneer. And she was, recently inducted into the Hall of Fame, first female rapper as far as I know. I think that says a ton. Look, it's a whole other conversation as to whether or not these other music genres should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and should there be a Rap Hall of Fame, an R&B Hall of Fame, a Country Hall of Fame. But the fact is, they've chosen to go down this route, and she's worthy. She's absolutely worthy. Megan has done some cool stuff thus far, but I think she's got a long way to go. And a lot of people to work with, and a lot more to do to be put in that conversation.
Okay, I'm going old school for the last one.
All right.
Here we go. Curtis Mayfield or Marvin Gaye? Yeah, man. Ooh.
First off, I'm not going to make the joke that you always make.
Wait, what?
Nope.
What? Okay.
Ask me after the show, Evan.
Okay.
Ask me after the show.
Okay.
Secondly, I
is
got
this because I've never been to a strip club that I don't understand
No.
this? Okay,
No.
okay.
I don't think so.
Okay, interesting.
I have to say this. I'm familiar with Curtis Mayfield's music. I don't know Curtis Mayfield's career.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to lean Marvin
Okay.
from the simple standpoint of he wrote some iconic songs that are anthems, that are absolute messages to the civil rights movement and community. And I know Curtis Mayfield belongs in that conversation too. I just can't read. I don't have that encyclopedic knowledge of what he did.
I'm telling you, though, that Marvin wrote songs that, quite frankly, you and I may be here as a result of.
For sure.
I'm just saying.
For sure.
But
I also think that, kind of like back to the Madonna thing. She wrote some songs that you were like, I'm going back to the spot and kicking it. And then she wrote some songs where you're like, you know what? This motivates me to try to be a better human being and have a better understanding of this world around me.
Yeah.
And I know Curtis has some of that. I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I can't readily call those to mind right now.
Right. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, we have royalty that just
we do. We're gonna have to wrap this up. Of course, we only have 13 minutes to make the gram.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. It is Aaron's final thoughts. We've got to intro him. Yes, we got to intro him like that. Wait, and then we got to. The drunk crowd, waiting for Aaron's final thoughts. Aaron, we had an incident kind of during the show. I don't know if you want to talk about that or if that's going to be part of your final thoughts about the gentleman who was upset with our comments. Yeah. But anyway, please.
No. Yes, but no.
Send us out with some good thoughts, good vibes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Here's Aaron's final thoughts.
We've talked a lot about VAR lately. And VAR is an attempt to right-size the game to respond to player and fan concerns about what they see on the field. And they've been very outspoken. And as Christina Kunkel made clear today, referees aren't involved in a lot of those conversations. A lot of the time, these proposals that get put forth for changes are from former players, coaches, and fans saying, this isn't what I want to see out of my game. Okay? And that's them participating in this process and being active and vocal. And sometimes that process is perfectly fine. But more often than not, that process is difficult and has growing pains. And requires adjustments along the way.
Sure.
We've had video review in the NFL for quite some time. And, we've had many incidents where a nationwide audience watched with their own eyes, and yet the video result in the ruling went against that.
Yes.
And people continue to speak out and say, we must do better, and we refine the process. That's what we're witnessing right now with VAR. The second you introduce this technology into a game that has historically allowed for some nuance, its rules were even written with some ambiguity that now we're trying to sort out. Look, if I can show you 15 views, 15 different angles in 4K high def in under a minute for you to see, you start to get a perception. But there are times when, much like today, you watch in real time, Marcus Rashford did not do anything wrong.
Sure.
And maybe a referee might blow his whistle in that situation and say, yellow card, there's no way you could have seen this guy coming through, yada, yada. But now that we're pausing it and we slow it down and we've got this individual frame of his studs and this guy's ankle and all this stuff, we're like, well, that looks terrible, and it should be interpreted this way.
True.
It's a process. It's an absolute process, and it requires all of us to get involved to refine it.
Yes. Yep.
Well, yesterday, our nation as a whole had an opportunity to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And we saw, thank you, sir. We saw democracy in action. We
Yes.
saw people getting out to vote for what they think is important.
Yep.
And from my perspective, we saw some pretty fantastic results in a lot of places that historically have given us pause. Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky. We're seeing the people speak out
Yeah.
for what they want. And again, that pendulum swings back and forth. But what I liked most about yesterday was there were some victories and there were some losses.
Sure.
But by and large, you saw this process play out the way it's supposed to.
Yes.
The people showed up, the people spoke,
Yep.
and when it became clear what they wanted in these particular places, you had people saying, I wish I'd have gotten more votes. I wish we'd have done better. But this is how the process works. I
Yes.
concede to my opponent,
Yes.
and we move forward. And you know what? We were close, so we're going to redouble our efforts and see
yeah.
what we can do.
Yeah.
And that goes for both sides.
Right.
You know, that
Right.
there are a few exceptions. There are a few crazies who are just like, oh my God, world's gone to hell in a
Whatever.
handbasket.
Whatever.
But no, you say, hey, our
Rick Santorum.
our position lost, and we will try to figure out how to make a better argument for that.
Yep.
That to me is a good sign. I like people to say, engage online. I engaged on Twitter today with regard to the Man U stuff.
Yeah.
And good conversation back and forth. We can be civil and say, I disagree with that point of
Yes.
view, but we are all citizens. We are
Yep.
all fans of this game.
Yep.
And we'll move forward together based on what we all collectively decide. And I think that was good in a lot of places. To the gentleman tonight who probably voted for people who won and is still pissed off that
Yeah.
I made my comment
Oh, well.
on a microphone.
Oh, well.
Hey, man, that's how the world works. If you had a pair, you'd have walked back here and said, what did you say, and can I have an opportunity to respond?
Exactly.
Instead, you fluffed off, and that's fine. Do your thing. You don't know me, I don't know you, and you're probably a good person, and I know I'm a good person, and we'd get along just fine. But I liked what I saw. We'll get VAR right eventually.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of things right in Indiana. Maybe we look to our right and kind of see what's going on over in Ohio.
Yeah.
I can tell you I'm going to be enjoying trips
Well, you know,
over there.
and also the
Ohio boy, so
Ohio,
I'm finding
woo!
excuses to go visit
Yes,
his family
exactly. And also to cauterize abortion rights into law in Ohio. That's huge. And you
Yeah.
know, congratulations to all who came out and voted for women.
Yeah.
I mean, literally that is huge.
Well,
I've never been prouder of my home state.
there was a lot of fucking around, and there was a lot of finding out.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you go. That is the Hey Aaron, Aaron's final thoughts. Not Hey Aaron. What am I doing? Jeez. All right, let's get out of here. We're going to be trying to get on the gram. Actually, we are going to make
We're
it on
going to make the gram.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Fun show.
Yeah.
Excellent show,
Good
guys.
shit.
I mean, it was so good. We thought we were going to be done like at 7:30, 7:35.
So it was something.
There's always something. There's a little bit of the Evan and Aaron show leaking into the Red and the Blue Soccer Chat. So
It will
please
always be there.
Stay tuned.
The
we will
red,
see you guys soon.
The blue.
Yes.
The red, white, and blue.
Eh. I don't have anything else to say.
You know what? That worked on multiple levels because I was just pointing at my shirt, but yeah.
Oh,
And you know what, folks? That's either why you love us or don't watch us. So with that, Evan,
Hey, hashtag Black People Vote.
hashtag say gay, say it loud, say it proud.
Love you guys.
Love you all.
Bye.
Cheers!